founder of Red Team Media and co-founder of Enable Education. She's an author, educator, and children's interactive media producer with a passion for big questions. Please help me welcome Amy Leask to the stage.
Great, how is everyone? Still holding up? I taught for a long time, so I always look for like low blood sugar and wandering eyes. Everybody still with me? Yeah. All right, good. Okay, yes. Yes, I am co-founder of Enable Education. We're an online learning solutions provider, so we do educational content and edu-tech. I'm also founder of Red Team Media, and we do multimedia, interactive media for kids that focuses on big questions. So that's what I get up every morning and do for a living. STEM is part of my daily routine. I wouldn't be here if it weren't. It's been sort of secret sauce in my success over the years, so hooray STEM, you know. But I am one of those people, and show of hands, how many people here are not actually from STEM originally, who are from the arts, and just kind of wandered into this? Yes. So that's me, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how I got from not being anything of a STEM person to working in STEM every day. But I also want to talk about the idea of STEAM. Is everyone familiar with STEAM? It's STEM with the arts in it. Yay! And now they talk about STREAM with reading and writing in it too. So there's a literacy component. And a couple weeks ago, someone introduced me to the term HEAT. Anyone heard of HEAT? Humanities, Engineering, Arts, and Tech. Isn't that beautiful? I love these short forms, they're great. So I want to talk about the importance of that, how, you know, giving STEAM instead of just STEM a really great big bear hug and embracing it and using it is really important. It's been important to me, and I think it's important to STEM as a whole. So that's sort of what I'm going to talk about here. I'm going to confess the last time I actually took a STEAM class in my life was OAC calculus, and I just dated myself by saying those three letters, OAC. Yeah, I'm older than the internet. There we go. And I did fine, you know, it was okay. I was a good student in math, I was a good student in science, but it wasn't what sort of, you know, fired me up. So when I went to university, I took philosophy and English. And you can get the jokes out of the way now, right? Yes, I make a living. No, I don't serve fries. You know, I don't stare at my belly button all day long, pondering the mysteries of the universe. There's more to philosophy than that. But that's what I did. And then after that, I went back and I did a master's degree in philosophy and existential ethics. That's a nice mouthful, isn't it? Okay. So I was the consummate artsy. I wore a lot of black, you know, some habits die hard. I listened to jazz, I wrote poetry, you know, I was very deep, you know, that sort of thing. And in my third year, I sort of really felt the difference between being an arts and humanities student and being a STEM student. I took this Shakespeare course, and it was 3 days a week, 3 mornings a week, and our textbook was like a 25-pound anthology of everything that Shakespeare had ever written. And my class was in the engineering building at McMaster University. So has anyone felt the rivalry between, you know, the arts and sciences? So I would skulk through the engineering building with this giant hulk of a book under my arm, you know, please don't pick on me, please don't pick on me. So back then, engineering and other STEM subjects were over here, and the arts and humanities were over there, and you could do a degree in one without ever having to take a class in the other. You could take classes as electives, but it wasn't necessary. So really, you didn't have to meld. There really wasn't a sense of STEAM back then. The internet was just a baby. Multimedia was a luxury in the arts. It wasn't something that was expected of an artist or a writer to partake in. So yeah, that was my university experience, and I loved it. I loved being an artsy. So when did I get converted? When did I get brought into STEM? Well, I graduated with my MA, and I started teaching. I was still teaching in the arts and humanities, but I was teaching students all about the human experience, and that's what you do when you teach English or philosophy or history or that sort of thing. What's it like to be a person? What's it like to live in a society? What's it like to be part of a culture, to be part of history? And I started realizing as my students would come into class with their science and math textbooks, that's kind of what they were teaching them in STEM subjects too. Who am I? What am I? How do I fit into the universe? What is nature like? What's the universe like? How do I explain it? There were kind of commonalities there. There were overlapping sort of ideas there. And when I got to teach college, which was a number of years later, I did high school and then adult education and then college level stuff. I actually had to teach a humanities course that included science. We had to teach about Darwinism, about the impact of technology on the humanities and on everyone. So I really started seeing these connections, and I felt like I wasn't just teaching humanities students, I was teaching thinkers. And part of being a thinker, part of teaching a thinker, is to teach them about everything, about thought in general. So fast forward a little bit more, and my husband and I, during a teacher's strike, decided to start our company. And what did we do with the company? We made educational materials, mostly in STEM. So if I wasn't already attached to STEM, I was getting, pushed in the door. This is what was going to pay the bills. This is what was going to keep the lights on. Our projects were largely STEM based, so I was in. Right? All of these skills, all of this knowledge that I had sort of brought together as an artsy, I was going to have to apply to STEM stuff. So I want to take a little poll. How many people here have ever played with Lego robotics? All right, yay! Okay, have you done competitions with Lego robotics? Yeah. How little did you start? Did you play with WeDo? No? Okay. I can tell you that Lego Robotics, Lego Education was one of our first big clients with Enable Education. So some of the stuff that you used as resources in your classrooms with your teachers, I wrote that, and I'm a philosophy grad. And it wasn't just engaged to teach STEM subjects with these robots. Lego asked us, please teach science or social science and language arts with robots too. So our clients were getting it too. Our clients were seeing the value of STEAM as well. They were embracing these overlaps, these connections, and that was wonderful. So that, and a lot of our other clients, just about everybody we get as a client now, they ask, how do we teach this and this? How do we merge them together? How do we teach better thinkers in general? All right, red tea stuff. I have, Enable Education. It's our big business, but I've actually got a little table out there if you want to visit it. I also have a small publishing arm to the company as well, and we teach philosophy to children, wee little kids of sort of primary, elementary age, and I set up Red Tea to do that. So we do multimedia stuff, and again, there's more connections here. A number of years ago, philosophy grad wrote a book on robots for kids, right? Never in a million years did I think I was going to be doing that. It was awesome. Philosophy grad wrote a book on environmentalism. Never thought I'd be in there, but it was awesome. Philosophy grad wrote a book about teaching kids logic and argumentation, heavy STEM skills. Never thought I was going to do that, but it's awesome, right? And every single day, now that we're going into more digital stuff in publishing, I have to use STEM skills and people who are very good at STEM subjects to help me make apps and cartoons and things like that. So it's been my bread and butter the last 11 years that we've had this company, and it's been fabulous. I love the connections. They excite me. So people going into STEM, here's my advice. Don't ignore these connections between the arts and the sciences. Don't live on opposite ends of the spectrum like I did, and have to learn later on that there's middle ground, really valuable middle ground. And there are 3 reasons why I think people should be embracing STEAM, why it shouldn't just be STEM anymore. It should be STEAM, stream, heat, whatever you want to call it. The first is it gives you an edge. As a person educated in STEM, working in STEM, there are certain advantages, there are a lot of advantages to having an arts background as well. Even if it isn't an academic background in the arts or a professional background, but knowledge of the arts and humanities, dipping your toe into the water on the other side is really valuable. I can tell you as an employer, most of the people who have stayed at our company and who've been hired at our company have a little bit of both. So lots of programmers around our office. Almost all of them have some sort of background in the arts as well. We have a photographer on staff. One of our programmers was a self-taught programmer, but also a professional jazz musician. You know, and what advantage does it give them? Well, they can think outside of the box. There are skills that you get from the arts that help you with your career in STEM, and you can't ignore those. If you want to be an innovator, if you want to break the rules, if you want to be a disruptor, and a good word, I love that word disruptor, you know, let's shake things up a little bit. If you want to be that, yeah, I'm good. If you want to be these things in STEM, it really helps to have the creativity, the communication skills, the problem-solving skills that come from the arts and humanities. So don't ignore these connections. And when you go for an interview, stick it on your resume and, you know, emphasize it. I am a thinker. I am an all-around thinker, and I'm really valuable because of that. My STEM skills, they're really important too. But I want to sort of look at the other side of the coin too. The arts need STEM too. So if you've ever looked around and thought, you know, I've got all these computer skills, I'm a programmer, I'm an engineer, the arts need you too. We're living in the 21st century, as we've sort of heard from all kinds of other people. STEM is part of what we live. This is part of our world. And if you are an artist and you are conveying what it's like to be human in the 21st century, you need to know about STEM. So you need that background. You've also probably noticed that there's so many tools out there that there weren't before. When I started as a writer, you wrote, you sent it to a publisher, you know, they made this book out of paper and that was it. Now you can do digital stuff and, you know, multimedia stuff. You can publish it to the world. You can reach so many more people and you can communicate in other ways that you couldn't. So that's really important too. The arts need you. So start making these connections. And the third one is, when we look at STEM as STEAM or STREAM or HEAT or whatever you want to call it, we're reevaluating what it means to be in STEM. We are redefining what STEM is. And we're doing it in a way that includes more people. And I can't help but think that if we do that in terms of subject areas, we're going to break down gender barriers in a way that's really significant. So, yes, and thank you very much for hearing me out, for listening to a philosopher talk about STEM. I know we're a little obnoxious, but I'd love to talk to people afterwards, and please visit the table and see, you know, how you mix the two together. All right, thank you.